G'day, I'm Kevin Young. I'm Australia's most successful property investor, but I started out poor, and I'm constantly being asked, how do you do it? How do you get there? You ask me, I'll give you the solutions. Between us, we'll make you wealthy.
90% of my properties are in Perth, while the others being in country Queensland and mining towns. Prices dropped about 15%, rents have dropped 20%. Queensland mining towns have dropped 75% and rents 75%. Also, I have some interest-only loans converting to principal and interest. Also, the interest-only loan rates have now been increased. I'm unable to refinance the P&I to IO because of serviceability problems.
Roy has got too many problems that he's got a problem.
Yes.
I met Roy when I first started the club over in Perth, and he very generously took me around and showed me Perth and the areas he'd like, etc. But he made one mistake, didn't you, Roy?
What did he do?
He never bought through the club, and he never took my advice. So he bought a lot of, nearly 70 properties over in Perth. A lot of them are older now, much older now.
Yeah. And
the repair and maintenance problems. He also then dived off and bought these mining town ones, which we warned everyone about.
Yeah, we don't recommend.
And now he's got some really big problems. And a lot of people around Australia are stressing, again, because of this APRA rule that they want people to go principal and interest,
yes,
not interest only.
So what is principal and interest?
Well, interest only is where you might have 100,000 debt and it's say 5% interest.
Okay.
That's $5,000 you're paying to the bank. But if they make that principal and interest, it means they want you to reduce that $100,000 debt down over the years, usually 20 years, to zip. So then they find an extra component that they can put in on top of the $5,000 that will see you own that property outright in 20 years.
Okay.
Now the problem is that when you buy investment property, be it a factory, a machinery or a truck or a home, you don't want to pay the principal down because that's not a tax deduction.
Yeah.
So the interest only is the way to go. And indeed, the very bank that's lending you the money for your property, they've borrowed it, not principal and interest, they've borrowed it interest only.
Yeah.
So the problem comes about then if by sudden movement in the bank's charging rate, which they can do.
Yeah,
which is
at
crazy.
any moment.
Yep. It takes the repayments up 45%. So if you're happily...
Goodbye to these properties.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
People are forced to sell properties because they can't manage this extra money going to the bank.
Yeah.
So they're left with too few properties, and 2 is the number that's actually what people end up retiring on.
Yeah.
They're full of maintenance issues, repairs and whatnot. So they're forced to go on to a pension. So APRA isn't helping the government of the future. APRA is forcing people who could be retiring on these properties to force them to sell because they can't
afford the repayments.
And a huge jump. Now I had a property at Hope Island that I was happily handling. Repayments from the tenant were more than matching the mortgage that I had.
Yep.
Suddenly National Australia Bank decided that I had to pay not back over 20 years but over 10 years I had to pay the whole thing back.
Holy!
So my repayments went from about $1,400 a month to, guess what?
How much?
$11,000 a month.
Oh my God.
So clearly I had to get rid of that property because it was just unsustainable. So that went, and that property, when it doubles, will make about $700,000, which would have helped my retirement.
Yeah.
And you magnify that across Australia, there's 1.6 million people that are coming up with this problem right now because of APRA and the Reserve Bank of Australia haven't thought this thing through.
Yeah.
They think that by making you go principal and interest, it's going to make it a more stable, safer investment for you. They've forgotten you've got rid of these and you've got an unstable future.
Yeah, I think that's crazy that they can go from making you pay 20 years off your mortgage to 10 years. That's halving it. How can you come up with that money? Like, what can you do?
Well, it's even stupider than that because all my life, and I've been in property for 50 years,
I've
always been interest only. They've never come along to me and said you should go principal and interest. They've tried it from time to time because they make money out of it.
Okay.
And I said, well, if you do, I'll go to another bank.
Yeah.
Competition was around and you could do that. Now there's no competition because Rudd has created a banking monopoly, which is illegal. They're doing it.
Yeah.
So now they do it now because they can. Now.
And there's nothing you can do.
And the 20-year conversion is sort of like, they can do that, but they can decide to make it 10, 8, 5, 4, 3, whatever, because they want money to satisfy Basel. They can take it by giving more shareholders funds, but they don't like that because they've got to pay dividends on those every year, and they don't like that.
Yes.
They can do it by selling off assets that they've got, and that push that into their net equity. But they don't like doing that because the assets are rising in value, just as we don't want to get rid of these because they're rising in value.
Yeah.
So the bank said, well, because we've got a monopoly, we're going to take your 20-year let down to 10.
Yeah.
And we know you're going to pay it, you're going to afford it, and that gives us the cash that we want.
So is there a contract though that you sign so that you are locked in for those 20 years on principal? And is it principal and interest?
Well, you originally signed a contract, it's the interest only, and you're happy with that. But buried on probably page 74 or 103 in little print is that they can take you out the back and shoot you if they want to.
Yeah.
And that's to quote the guy in Cairns that was sent broke by the Commonwealth Bank, and the Australian Banking Ombudsman did a great job of looking into that debacle and found against the Commonwealth Bank, and that was a comment that was made there. So they can just do whatever they want, and it's in there. It's in there.
It's unbelievable. And
lack of competition is making it so easy for them to do it.
Yeah.
So Roy, the solution for you here, mate, is, and I've already gone back to you, is apply to the Banking Ombudsman. You'll find she's very, very efficient, and she's sympathetic to the plight that people are being pushed into. And we'll see if we can make the banks go back to interest only. And mate, with the mining areas in the Queensland country towns, if you sell now, you're going to realise a lot. We don't like that. But there may be no alternative, because I don't know the longevity of those mining towns. I don't recommend those mining towns, nor would I recommend regional areas anywhere in Australia. We wanted to have a chat a bit further about trying to work out the viability of trying to hold on to see if the area will pick up again or not. So I'm out of my area there, mate, so I can't help you right now, but we'll sit down and do a bit of research together. So hopefully that'll ease the financial squeeze on you, Roy. And mate, what you should have done is diversify. So when you met me all those years ago, you should have followed us around the country, and now you'd have 70 properties that are situated all around the country. They'd be much more solid, better quality, less maintenance for you to jump over right now. But you didn't, but we're trying to get you out of the mess. But hopefully, Roy, you're a great example for other people out there not to follow.
Hindsight.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing. So the Roy story will be out there for a long time, Roy. You're helping a lot of people. Thanks, mate.
So this is a great example of why people invest through the club, and they learn from other people's mistakes.
So you need to diversify.
Yes.
You need not to just buy in Perth as poor old Roy did. But you need to move around the country, but you need to diversify in the type of property too. You know, this house may be good for your first one, this might be better to go to a townhouse.
Yep.
Even in the city, go to different areas of the city, because they all go up at different sort of rates. And then the finance is very important, because if you go to your own broker or your own finance, they'll group all that together under the one group mortgage.
Yes.
Which means that you can't move on to buying your next one if this bank doesn't want you to. They control you. So there's a number of mistakes that Roy has made and others make when they don't come to the club and get the benefit of that experience. So we're there for you. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys. And if you want to join the club, make sure you click the link below. We'll put it in the description for you.